You just got a text from your ex demanding half your paycheck for child support. You're sitting on the edge of your bed staring at your bank app and doing the math, realizing you won't be able to cover your rent if they get everything they're asking for. Take a deep breath. There's a massive myth floating around out there that your ex can just demand a flat percentage of your gross income, and the court will automatically make you pay it. People think if you make $4,000 a month, your ex can just waltz in and take $2,000 just because they ask for it. That isn't how the system actually works. The law doesn't care what your ex wants. The law only cares about a mathematical formula. Today we're going to dismantle the biggest myths about child support and look at how the court actually calculates the number. Remember, this is education about how the system generally works, not legal advice for your specific situation. Child support laws vary heavily by state, so the exact numbers where you live might look a little different. The first myth is that your ex can just name a random number based on what they think you owe. The court uses something called an income shares model. This means the court looks at the combined income of both parents to figure out how much money would normally be spent to raise a child if the whole family still lived together in one house. The court doesn't just pick a number out of thin air. The judge uses a state-specific grid or a software program that takes both parents' incomes and spits out a baseline number. If you make 60% of the total household income between the two of you, you're responsible for roughly 60% of the financial cost of raising that child. Your ex doesn't get to just demand a number that leaves you homeless. The second huge myth is that you can just quit your job or work fewer hours to make your child support payment smaller. A lot of guys think if they drop down to part-time, their support obligation drops right down with them. The court is way ahead of you on that one. The court looks at your income, which means the actual money you earn from working. But if you intentionally quit a good job or take a lower-paying job just to dodge paying support, the judge will calculate your child support based on something called imputed income. Imputed income means the court pretends you still make the money you're perfectly capable of making. If you were making $25 an hour on a job site and you suddenly quit to go work a minimum wage retail job, the judge will still calculate your child support payment as if you're making $25 an hour. The court won't let you artificially lower your income just to punish your ex or dodge the financial responsibility. The third myth is that your ex can spend the child support money on whatever they want. People assume that because the money is paid to the other parent, that parent can use it to buy themselves a new television or take a vacation. The reality is that child support is strictly meant to cover the child's basic living expenses. That means the money goes toward rent for a roof over the kid's head, groceries to feed them, electricity, and basic clothing. Yes, the other parent gets the check and writes the actual checks to the landlord, but legally, that money is meant for the child, not for the parent's personal entertainment. Another dangerous myth is that the court will only look at your hourly wages. A lot of people try to hide money by getting paid under the table or dealing entirely in cash. The court looks at gross income, which means your total income before any taxes or deductions are taken out. But gross income includes a lot more than just your paycheck. It includes overtime pay, bonuses, commission from sales, and even tips you make waiting tables. If you drive a truck and get a per diem, which is a daily allowance for meals and travel expenses, the court might look at that too. If you own a small business or work as an independent contractor, the court looks at your net business income after your actual operating expenses are deducted, but they won't let you write off a bunch of personal vehicles and vacations just to make your business income look like zero. The court wants to see the actual economic reality of what you bring into your household. The final myth is that the amount the judge sets today is set in stone forever. Life changes. You might get injured on the job and be unable to work. You might get laid off from the factory or the warehouse. If you don't update the court immediately, you'll owe the higher amount while living on a smaller income. When a judge handles child support, they aren't there to yell at you. They're just there to run the formula and enforce it. The court strictly treats child support as a right that belongs to the child, not the parent. You can't legally agree with your ex to just not pay support. Even if your ex says they don't want your money and they'll drop the case, the state won't let them. If the custodial parent, which is the parent the child lives with the majority of the time, applies for state assistance like food stamps or housing, the state will automatically open a child support case against you to get reimbursed. The state wants to make sure parents are paying for their kids before the taxpayers have to foot the bill. Sometimes parents try to agree to a different amount on their own. You can do this, but the judge still has to approve it. The court will look at your agreement. If the agreed amount is way below the state guideline formula, the judge will likely reject it. The only way to legally pay less than the minimum guideline amount is to show a very good reason, like a permanent disability that completely prevents you from working. You have to provide extensive medical records to prove you physically can't earn an income. If you can work, the court expects you to work. If your financial situation is complicated, this is exactly when you need to get a family law attorney. If you have a pension, a retirement account, or stock options from your employer, calculating the actual income from those assets gets incredibly complicated. If you own a business where your revenue fluctuates wildly from month to month, like working construction or landscaping through the winter, you need a lawyer to help average your income correctly over a 3-year period. If you don't calculate the average properly, the court might use your highest earning summer month as your permanent baseline, leaving you broke in December when the snow hits. A lawyer ensures the judge sees the entire yearly picture rather than just a snapshot of your best week. Remember that child support is completely separate from visitation or parenting time. This is a trap many people fall into. Your ex refuses to let you see your kid, so you stop paying child support. You can't do that. The court views money and parenting time as two totally different legal lanes. If your ex violates the custody schedule, your legal remedy is to file a motion to enforce the custody order. You ask the judge to punish your ex for withholding the child. But if you withhold child support, the judge will punish you. You can't legally withhold financial support just because the other parent is being difficult. If you stop paying, the arrears pile up, your driver's license gets suspended, and you end up on the wrong side of the judge's desk. Calculating child support feels incredibly stressful because it hits your wallet directly. The unknown is terrifying, especially when you're already struggling to pay for groceries. But the system isn't designed to bleed you dry and leave you with nothing. The system is designed to split the actual cost of raising a child fairly between both parents based on what they actually earn. The math strips away the emotion and the anger. It doesn't care about the arguments you had with your ex. It only cares about your income, their income, and the state guideline grid. As long as you provide accurate financial documents and file your paperwork quickly when your hours drop, you can navigate this without drowning in debt. What is the most ridiculous expense your ex has ever tried to claim was for the kids? Drop it down in the comments. If this breakdown helped you understand the real math behind child support so you can stop panicking and start planning, pass this video along to a coworker or a buddy who is losing sleep over their paycheck getting garnished. Make sure you subscribe to Scribble Law so you always know the exact playbook before an angry ex tries to use the legal system against your wallet.